to show you a fairly simple little snack that you can make and take with you when you're heading out to go camping, or you can make it ahead of time and keep it cool and have it as a snack while you're camping or on a picnic or whatever. You could even make this in your camper if you have a way to bake items such as, convection oven or regular oven, whatever. I am just taking one package of bacon right now and slicing this up into small pieces. I'm going to cook it, and then I'm only going to use about half of that. I'm going to save the other half for something else that I'm making for dinner later. You won't probably get to see that. Alright, so we're going to cook this up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Let me get this nice and crispy. I think that's probably about gonna do it. I am actually gonna get this out of the pan and let it set on some paper towels to soak up some of that grease. Don't need all that grease. Okay, next step is taking 2 cans of just regular size biscuits, and we're gonna smush these together. You could use a rolling pin if you really want to. I'm just gonna use my hands and smush them together. You can also use you could use the canned crescent rolls or the canned pizza crust. I just chose the biscuits because it was cheaper. I'm just going to smush them together good because I don't want them to come apart. I want one big slab of dough. I'm going to try to get it to shape into a square, and you can thin it out or you can leave them as thick as you want. Obviously, if you're using the biscuits and you don't thin it out, it's going to be smaller. You could also even make your own dough from scratch. But since this was supposed to be a quick and easy treat, snack, whatever you want to call it, I didn't want to spend the time making dough. Even though homemade would probably taste better than the canned biscuit and stuff. Alright, I'm going to finish getting this all shaped out, and then we'll move on to the next step. The next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to just take some sour cream, and I don't want to put this too thick. Now, if I was the only one eating it, I'd probably make it a little thicker than this, because I like sour cream. Jesse, not so much. So we're going to keep it nice and thin. So you can do this to taste however much sour cream you want. It'll probably be a little easier to work with if it's not too thick. Then I'm going to take some ranch seasoning and just sprinkle that all along. And again, this can be to taste. You can use the whole packet. You could make it a lighter seasoning, a stronger seasoning, however you want to do it. I don't know. Don't think I'm going to use the whole thing. That's quite a bit for me. The next step is to take our bacon and sprinkle that throughout. And again, as little or as much as you want. I'm only using half of the package of bacon. And the next step is going to be to add cheese slices. This whole recipe is your taste. You pick what you want. I just went with basic Kraft American cheese slices, but you can get cheddar. You could do pepper jack, would be probably pretty good. Whatever flavor you want. Then we're going to take some deli meat and we're going to put those over the cheese. This is ham. I would have probably rather had turkey or maybe chicken, but I didn't have that on hand, so we're just going to use ham. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and use what I have here, because there's not a whole lot left and I don't really want to put that back in the refrigerator. Next step is going to be to roll this. This is where it gets a little tricky, because if you put too much stuff in here, it might be a little difficult to roll. The parchment paper can kind of help, I think. We're just going to roll this as tight as we can. Try to keep all our goods stuffed inside here. I'm going to fold that meat up. It's trying to squeeze its way out. That beep was my oven getting preheated there. Oh, yeah. So preheat your oven to whatever your biscuit or dough recommends for cooking. Cook that probably that long. You can check it once it hits those minutes. If it needs to stay in a little longer, then you can always leave it in a little longer. I'm going to pinch this together because I want it to stay. Try not to let my stuffings show here. Actually gonna probably go ahead and pinch these ends a little bit because it looks like the bacon's kind of wanting to fall out. Alright, you get a nice roll, get that all nice and pinched together, then you can cut it. I am going to try to cut these with a pizza roller or a pizza cutter because I think a knife might just kind of tear up the biscuits a little bit. Well, I don't think the pizza cutter works too good. My ham's coming out. Let me get a knife. No, this baby's sharp enough. Need to sharpen my knives. I want to cut my counter. I don't have a cutting board underneath. Trying to keep those together. Yeah, cutting board underneath there. And these probably aren't going to come out perfectly round. I don't know. I'm going to cut the rest of these up and get them onto a pan, and then I'll show you what they all look like once I get them on there. Those don't look too bad. But you know, like I always say, I'm not as concerned about the appearance of the food. I'm concerned about the taste. I want it to taste good. It don't have to be beautiful. I'm not, you know, doing some big fancy dinner party. It's just for us to eat, and that's pretty much it. Let's get these cooked up. My oven's preheated at 400 with the recommended temperature for the biscuits. Thinking 10 to 12 minutes, but I'm going to keep an eye on them just in case, and just cook them until the biscuits are done. They're all done. I checked the center of the biscuit. Some turned out a little more brown than the others, but I don't want to leave them in too long because the ones that, like that one that did turn a little brown on the edges, might get really brown. Now to let them cool. They didn't turn out too bad looking, I think. They're not bad. I mean, I'm sure they could be prettier, but whatever. Now I'll just let them cool, and then I'll taste them and let you know if they taste good or not. Okay, these are probably cool enough. Let's taste these bad boys. Yep, those are really good. Those are so good. Still a little warm. I think they're going to taste really good when they're cold too. You could even make some type of a dipping sauce for these. I actually have some sriracha mayo that might be pretty good with that. Or if you wanted to make some type of a ranch dip to go with them, that would probably be really good too. Yep, those are pretty tasty. Easy to throw in a baggie or some aluminum foil and take with you. Eat on the road while you're traveling, or have a little snack once you get to your campsite. I am going to call these camper wheels. Not pinwheels, camper wheels. They don't look like camper wheels though, do they?